You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, we're going to take you to Webb City where esports taking off at the high school.
Also, an investigation in Iola, Kansas leads to the arrest of 2 people after it found some disturbing discoveries.
And we've got a pretty decent start across the 4 states this morning. A little bit cool, but it is going to begin to warm up. We'll tell you more in that forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner, coming up on 7:16 on this Wednesday morning. Thanks for sticking with us following the soccer match.
That's right.
We have had some soccer going on. We've got that continuing. So as we've mentioned over the last couple of weeks, there's going to be a time or two where we might be a little late getting here, but we're still going to be here, and we have got a fantastic show for you today.
Absolutely. And we're almost to the finals, so.
We certainly are. And we've got some information. Esports is becoming a thing, but I never, ever would have imagined that you could go to school and play computer games. I mean, you were strongly discouraged from this when I was in school.
Absolutely.
Now it's a thing.
It's a totally new time. And when a new school year begins at Webb City High School next week, students will suddenly have a brand new option.
And they're going to have 6 brand new classrooms, and one of them a $50,000 esports edition. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has that story.
Chastity Cardoza graduated from Webb City High School just 3 months ago. Now she wishes she could go back to school to make use of its new esports edition.
I feel pretty mad about it. I really wish they had that. I really wish I could have been part of something that I actually like.
Like Chastity, other high schoolers are interested in technologies that surround the esports world. Esports is short for electronic sports, a form of competition using video games.
Kids are gaming. I mean, the reality is kids are gaming, and so if they can make a connection with the school and represent the school, we know that kids that are successful, that are in our co-curricular and extracurricular programs, they do better academically, they do better behaviorally.
As the fall semester starts, the school will recruit students to join their team. They plan to compete in both regional and state tournaments.
Actually, all of the schools in the COC, our conference, the Central Ozark Conference, have to some extent an esports program. Some are more elaborate than others. Some may only have a few computers that are dedicated. We have an entire lab that's dedicated to it.
The esports edition will also serve as classrooms for some high school students. Instead of sitting in regular chairs, they will be on these ones to learn coding and programming. School officials also expect the facility to help students with their future.
Also teaches a lot of teamwork skills. It's not just kids playing games. There are a lot of soft skills that are involved. There's a lot of communication involved. Military and security areas use drones and a tremendous amount of the esports skills. The construction business, iron workers, there's a lot of that's done not unlike how you would play the esports games.
Webb City High School students will also have new labs, a remodeled theater, and other additions for the fall semester. In Webb City, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Well, Chris, we've sure come a long way since our days of playing Oregon Trail.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
How fun. Good for them. Well, according to the school district, 204 schools in Missouri are going to be currently involved in esports.
And they also say because all the competitors are online, there's, of course, no need to travel. That saves the district money there.
Very easy.
I told you, our oldest open house for 6th grade was last night at South Middle School in Joplin, and they had announced their esports edition.
It's just taking over. I mean, this new generation, it's so great.
It's like we were born a little too early, it seems, you know?
Yeah, power on. It's not just about the jocks now. The nerds can get into it. Everybody's
competitive. Involved
so
in
I love
everything these days. Yeah, I mean, it's a great addition for sure. And we've got a great start to the day across the area. Very fall-like out there. Temperatures across the region slowly starting to warm back up. Earlier, we had mostly upper 50s. We still have the majority of us in the upper 50s, but we're starting to get back into the lower 60s, at least for for a few of us out there. And even though we had a cooler start today than we did yesterday, we're going to be warmer today than we were yesterday because Mother Nature likes to just mess with our minds, you know? You'd think, well, we started cooler, so we should be cooler today. Nope, not at all. We're going to have mostly sunny skies, few clouds, low 70s by late morning. And as we head into the afternoon, warmer than yesterday, but not significantly so. So we go low to mid 80s, so we're still below average. We'll still have a few passing clouds, otherwise sunny skies. Great opportunity to finish up anything outdoors because it's going to get hot a little bit later. And we'll go back through the 70s, clear skies, overnight lows mid to upper 60s. It is going to heat back up because it is still summertime. We'll tell you when the full summertime temperatures return here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Well, coming up, Holly Miner from the K-State Extension Office joins us here in studio to show us how to preserve food.
We'll be right back after all this, but first, take a look at this. It is another beautiful look from Lamar's downtown square. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, the condensed version. Here on Fox 14, it is now 7:23. The sun is up. Our temperatures not quite, but they will be. So I know we just did some weather. This is what happens when you have soccer and all this fun stuff, messes everything up. So we're gonna do weather again, but this time we're gonna take a look outside. This is the MoDOT camera, US 60, Missouri 59 in the Osho, looking back to the west. I think I said east earlier today, but it is to the west. Looking great on the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line in Joplin, and from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue, and that one just south of Pittsburgh. In fact, Centennial is just right back up there. And then this is our camera at 7th and Range Line. We've got blue skies, beautiful start to the day, 60 degrees, so a cool start to the day for sure. And around the region, still a lot of us in the upper 50s out there. We've got a ton of upper 50s. It's easier to point out where the 60s are. We got Independence, Chautauqua, Miami, and Veneta, and Carthage. And that's about it, but we will continue to warm as we go through today. So we'll have the mostly sunny skies, a couple of passing clouds here and there perhaps, and we'll go into the low 70s by late morning. Heading into the afternoon, as we mentioned earlier, a little warmer today, but the key thing is we're still below average. And this is the last time we're going to be able to say that for the next several days. We are below average. Low to mid 80s. Mostly sunny skies. We head into the evening, not too bad, but take a look. As our temperatures drop off, they kind of stop a little early. We're looking at the mid 60s overnight lows tonight because we're going to continue to warm up as we head through the next few days. So we're talking low 90s. So this is average tomorrow, right around 91, just a pinch above average on Friday at 93, and then all of a sudden Mother Nature says, hey, here's summertime back for you. In fact, well above average temperatures. We go mid to upper 90s, mostly clear skies, partly cloudy skies here and there, closing in on the 100-degree mark a few of those days. We're a wee bit cooler Thursday and Friday next week with maybe some evening thunderstorm chances Friday into Saturday morning. So again, if you got something to do outdoors, today is the day to do it. This time, not the time to do it. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. But first, see, I told you it messes things up. This is another live look at the beautiful Lamar Square.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Fox 14. Joining us in studio today is Holly Miner with the K-State Extension Service. Holly is here to show us how to do food preservation. Holly, how are you? So tell us, this is new to me now. I haven't done this before. What is it all about? What is this contraption here and how does it work?
So we're going to talk about food preservation. Specifically, we're going to talk about how to test your canner. So this is a pressure canner. This is used when we are canning low acid foods. So any vegetables, meat, fish, poultry, seafood, those kinds of things, we would use a pressure canner. Okay. It's important to have our dial gauge pressure canners, which have this dial gauge on the front, to make sure that it is accurate. If it's not accurate, then the food may not be preserved correctly and it may cause harmful bacteria to grow in it.
Okay, all right.
So it's important that we do this every year. Your canner gets moisture in it when it's used. It could rust out the dial gauge. It could get bumped in moving it from the stove to where you store it at. And so we want to make sure that our dial gauges are accurate. So we have our little tester set up. We have a master gauge here. I'll turn this around so people can see. We have a master gauge which mimics the gauge on our canner, and we have a air pump that we can pump up. I have a little foot pedal down on the floor that I'll use, and what we do is we seat this gauge onto our canner, and we make sure that it's on there and sealed.
This is fascinating stuff, by the way. I mean,
and then we pump up the pressure to, we'll go to 15, and then we look at what it is on our gauge here on our canner, and so at this point it's about 18.
I've never seen anything like this before. This is amazing.
Yeah.
It's a little dial that you guys can see right on that. Okay, I'm following. Then we take the lid.
So we test that at 15 pounds pressure. We have a little sheet here that we use, so we test it at 15 pounds pressure, 11, and 6 pounds to make sure that each one of those are accurate. If it's off by more than 2 psi's, then we say that their gauge needs to be replaced. And if it's less than 2 psi, then we can adjust and make those adjustments when we can.
Okay, all right, and where do people even go to get this beautiful?
So all extension offices will have a tester, or should be able to send it to another office to get it tested. I know in the Wildcat District, Wilson County doesn't have a tester in their office, but I test them in Montgomery County.
And how often, or I mean, how popular, should I say, is canning?
Canning has made a comeback in the last few years. People really want to know that their food is preserved in a manner that maybe doesn't have any preservatives in it. It's just the food in the jar by itself. And you can add salt if you want to, but you really don't need to add salt to most recipes.
Is it cost efficient? Is that also a...
Yeah, so if people are growing gardens, it's a great way to preserve that food for use in the wintertime or after the growing season is over.
I love that. Okay, well, we are going to stop here, but you stay tuned because when we come right back, we're going to see this in action and take a look at all the different vegetables and how to properly preserve them. We'll be right back after these messages.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:37 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. 4 staters considering getting electric vehicles now have a new charging option. Liberty Utilities holds a ribbon cutting for new electric vehicle charging stations. The chargers support any plug-in electric vehicle and offer 24/7 driver support and monitoring. This represents the first installation in Liberty's Ready to Charge program. The EV charging stations are located in downtown Neosho for easy access to and from Interstate 49.
This will really give an opportunity to draw some of that traffic off the interstate that is traveling and get that EV charge. And it's great when folks are getting their car charged, they can visit the shops and the restaurants here on the square in downtown and really make Neosho a destination.
Liberty's Ready Charge program launched in October of 2022.
Well, we've got ourselves a relatively cool start across the area. Despite this cool start, we are actually going to be a little bit warmer this afternoon. Most of us still in the upper 50s. We're starting to see a few more 60s out there. So Carthage, Joplin, Chautauqua, Miami, Veneta. But again, upper 50s for a lot of us to get this day started. We're going to have those sunny skies, a few clouds, and into the the lower 70s by late morning. And as we head into the afternoon, a pretty fantastic one. But again, a pinch warmer, but still below average as we go into the low to mid 80s under mostly sunny skies. We'll take another look at that forecast and when the summer heat returns in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Well, an animal rescue shelter in Joplin celebrates a milestone. The Golden Paw Pet Rescue celebrates their silver anniversary this year. They've been a friend to man's best friend in Joplin for 25 years now. That's a lot of grooming and pet adoptions. But for one of the shelter's founders, it's been a real labor of love.
But there have been thousands of animals that have come through Golden Paw. Been adopted, animals we groomed, animals we kept, just all kinds. And that's my passion, animals. The other thing that really is wonderful is the number of clients who actually have turned into personal friends over the years. And there's a lot of those.
Golden Paw Pet Rescue is located at 2300 North Main Street in Joplin. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Holly Miner returns to the studio to answer questions in regards to food preservation.
Plus, again, a cool start out there ahead of a warmer day, and then the summer heat will return. Taking a look at that forecast when we come back. But first, we're going to head up to Lamar for a live look at the square. We'll be right back.
Well, welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. So last time we were with Holly, she showed us how to preserve food. Now we're going to sit down with her and learn more about the process. Now, Holly, we were just talking. This is all so foreign to me. I've never knew this was a thing, but hey, I'm learning here in the 4 states and I am eager to learn. So with the whole canning thing, we learned you can preserve fruits, vegetables, and there's also some strategies to achieve certain things. So there's adding lemon and vinegar. Tell me all about that. Dumb it down so I can really understand this process.
Well, there's two things that we need to consider when we're preserving food. One is the acidity level of the food. So we want to make sure that when we are water bath canning, we're using high acid foods. So those are fruits. Tomatoes are kind of a borderline, so they need to have acid added to them. So if you are not adding some kind of acid to your tomatoes, you need to be doing that to make sure the acidity level is high enough so that those foods can be preserved in a water bath canner. Even if you pressure can them, they need to be acidified.
Okay.
So,
all right. So there's the tomatoes. Tell us about the meats. I saw that you had some chicken in there.
Yeah. So chicken needs to be pressure canned. So that's a different method. Those are low acid foods. So any meat, fish, poultry, and vegetables are all low acid foods. So those need to be pressure canned. I have a lot of people call with questions.
Yes, I mean, as you can see, there's a lot of questions here. What is the most frequent question that people have?
Well, there's some unusual things that have been happening lately. So one of the questions that I have received lately is, can I can my white peaches the same as my yellow cling peaches? And white peaches are considered a low acid food.
All right.
So no, they cannot be canned the same as yellow peaches. If you do that, the jars will pop open and you'll lose all of your peaches. So the best thing to do with white peaches is to freeze them.
Okay.
That would be the safest way to preserve those. We were talking about tomatoes, so we want to make sure that we acidify our tomatoes. So there's 3 different things that we can use to acidify tomatoes. One is lemon juice. So in a pint of tomatoes, we would add a tablespoon of lemon juice. In a quart, we would add 2 tablespoons. Okay. We can also use citric acid, and I believe citric acid is 1/4 of a teaspoon for a pint and 1/2 teaspoon for a quart. And then we could use vinegar, although I prefer the lemon juice over the vinegar. Vinegar has a much stronger flavor to it. But we could use vinegar if we wanted to acidify our tomatoes, and that would be 2 tablespoons for a pint and 4 tablespoons for a quart.
All right, lemon juice, citric acid, and vinegar. Well, Holly, I learned a lot today. Thank you so much for teaching us all this. And for you folks at home, learn more through Holly and K-State Research and Extension. We'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:47 now on this Wednesday morning, halfway through the work week. That much closer to Friday. Unfortunately, that much closer to it also getting back to summertime temperatures out there. Let's take a quick look at what we're expecting through the morning hours. We've got mostly clear skies, maybe a passing cloud or two, and we'll go into the low 70s by late morning. Now, as we head into the afternoon, we are warmer today, but we are still below average, which this is the last time that we're going to be able to say that for a while because it's going to start to heat back up across the area. So we're talking low to mid 80s. Again, mostly clear skies, maybe a passing cloud or two. As we head into the evening, another great evening ahead of us with those mostly clear skies out there. But as you can see, as our temperatures fall back, they slow down a bit, and then we don't fall back much further as we go back into the mid 60s overnight. That is because we return to normal for at least a day, maybe 2, and then it really starts to heat back up again. So let's talk about the future. We're looking at partly cloudy skies tomorrow, 91, so right about where we should be. It's hot, yes, but it's right about where where we should be. So Friday, not far off as we stay in the low 90s, but then as we head into the weekend and kick off the next work week, it starts to get really hot out there. We've got temperatures soaring mid to upper 90s, so we're going to go well above average, close to 100 degrees on a couple of these days. And we'll continue with the mid to upper 90s through at least Wednesday of next week before we fall back just a little bit with some evening thunderstorm chances Friday night into Saturday morning. So if you got something to do, today's your day to do it, because this is when it's a little too hot, a little too dangerous to do it. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Disorder in the court. In Utah recently, a courtroom doubled as a nursery. Well, sort of.
There was a juror who couldn't find anyone to watch her kids, and she had to bring her infant triplets and 4-year-old to court. Of course, hilarity ensued, and much of it was caught on video, and you know who's going to bring us this story. It's our Jeannie Moose.
Triplets are 3 handfuls when you only have...
Hey, careful!
2 hands. So when Utah mom Tori Scow says she was not excused from jury duty, even though she had triplet babies and a toddler and no babysitter.
I just knew it was going to be a crap show. So that's why I was like, I'm going to film some of this.
And you thought you whined about having jury duty? What's a mom to do?
I fed them more snacks than they've ever had in their entire life to keep them quiet.
A technique practiced during our interview.
Whose hand is that feeding the kids?
My husband.
It only partially works. At times, Mom says the triplets drowned out the judge's questions to potential jurors, but the worst was when they got sick of being in the wagon.
That's when they started screaming and they pooped.
Justice may be blind, but she can still smell. Eventually, Mom performed consecutive diaper changes out in the parking lot. Someone suggested the kids should also have their boxes ticked for their first jury duty summons. A nice officer did supply them with toys. Finally, after 2.5 hours, they were dismissed.
Was this the most embarrassing thing you've done as a mother of triplets?
Yes. I mean, obviously with triplets, we have a lot of embarrassing moments.
This was a lot of law, but not much order. Jeannie Moose, CNN, New York.
Now there is a Law and Order show for you.
That's pretty funny. Good for her, Mom. Just
no
making
kidding.
it work.
We have 2 not young boys that we had to take to open house. I've talked about it last night.
Yes.
It was almost impossible to control them. Any open space they found, boy, they were ready to just get their groove on.
Oh, I bet.
I can't imagine triplet infants. Oh my,
Kids.
Well, more power to that mom, and more power to you if you've got things to do today, because today's your last real good day to do it. Let's take a look outside. This is the MoDOT camera at US 60 and Missouri 59 on the south side of Neosho, looking back to the west. We're going to look at the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line in Joplin, looking back to the south, and we're looking great. And then every so often, the KDOT camera at 69 East 520th Avenue decides that functioning is not really what it wants to do, and that happens. So we can't show you that, but we can show you our camera at 7th and Range Line and show you we're starting to warm up. We're now up to 64 in Joplin, and temperatures around the region, still some upper 50s out there, but we're starting to see a few more lower 60s. We're going to continue to warm up today. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back. All right, quick final look at that forecast. We're again warmer today, still below average as we go low to mid 80s, mostly clear skies. Clear skies as we head through the evening, and not a bad overnight. We go back in the mid to upper 60s. Tomorrow we get hot but average at 91, 93 on Friday, and then as we head into the weekend and next week, temperatures begin to take off. As we go into the mid to upper 90s, we are pushing close to 100 on some of the days next week, so above average temperatures. We only get a day of average, which is, it's par for the course in the 4 states. We will stay hot through the majority of next week, a little bit cooler on Thursday and Friday with an opportunity for some evening thunderstorms Friday night into Saturday morning. So as we've been mentioning all morning, if you've got yard work, you got to paint the house, mow the driveway,
advantage of
vacuum
today's
the lawn,
weather.
whatever,
Right.
you need to make sure that you do it today, because it's gonna get hot again.
Yep, it's gonna get hot out there. All right, well that's good to know, Chris. And make sure that you guys tune in for noon today, and we'll have an update on the rest of the latest news here in the 4 states. And Chris?
Yeah, we'll see you back here today at noon, won't
we will.
Why don't we just do, we're gonna take a nap, recover, and then be back at noon. We'll see you then.
All right, take care.